Match number 4, the final game of the day, finally arrived. A 4-match day. Man, that is a bit of a banger indeed. Hangzhou Spark versus Shanghai Dragons, though, is next on the docket here late day, as it's an interesting time for these teams because, well, Hangzhou Spark, they did win their game yesterday, but overall, their record so far, this split, the second stage, has been a little bit shaky. Just a 3-2 record, which puts them at equal Seoul Dynasty, slightly ahead of Dreamers, slightly behind Seoul Infernal. So I guess you can't complain that much. They're still third. A team like Hangzhou Spark, you'd expect them to be more like a 4-1, right?
Yeah, like we look at this roster, and we all called it before the season. This is final. This is for Final Evolution. This is the Super Saiyan X of Chinese Overwatch. They've grabbed all the best pieces and tried to place them together for one final big hurrah of Chinese Overwatch. You've grabbed Lee from the Chengdu Hunter, Shy, I'd say undisputed the best hit scan right now, with Jimmy on a little bit of a languishing arc. Gu Shui, very good on the Winston. This is the meta for the boy. And I've always been a big fan of Monk Xana. I think this guy has been a real standout in the Chinese scene on the Ana.
Are there more evolutions in Dragon Ball Z or Digimon?
Definitely in Digimon. I don't actually watch the former.
I don't watch either, but I just know there's a lot of evolutions and stuff.
I'm a big digital kid, you know. I played all the games when I was young.
I don't know what the final form is, but I'm hoping Hangzhou Spark can get there, because otherwise they're getting outpaced on the evolution scale compared to teams like Dallas and Infernal currently, who are the only two teams above the Hangzhou Spark. But versus Poker Face yesterday, very solid result. I don't think it was too competitive. But that's kind of what you'd expect, right? Nambani went a little bit more of the distance, but otherwise for Hangzhou Spark, 3-0, another day at the office, as you'd expect. Shanghai Dragons might pose a bit more of a threat today. We'll see if that ends up being the case. Shanghai Dragons themselves are sitting at 2-2. They've played a lot less matches compared to other teams. It's actually kind of surprising because Dallas and Seoul Inferno have now played 6 matches. Shanghai Dragons are actually 2 games behind.
I guess Shanghai Dragons going to have to fill out that one tomorrow. There is a game in common for these teams, which is Dynasty, which is actually the differentiator. The Seoul Dynasty were defeated by the Shanghai Dragons, whereas a 3-2 loss, a tragic one for the Hangzhou Spark. That happened between week 1 and week 2. So when it comes to matching up against other Overwatch League teams, for now, it's been a little bit light on the ground, with the exception of Guangzhou Charge being decimated by Hangzhou, but unfortunately, we've kind of come to expect that in the Summer Qualifier.
Tell you what, in the Shanghai games that we have seen, they've looked alright. I mean, actually, they've been the only team to, I believe, even take a map off of the Dallas Fields. So we talk about Dallas Fields' 5-0 journey and how strong they look. Sorry, unlike Guangzhou also took a map off them today. That happened very recently, but out of all the games that Dallas have played, they've only lost 2 maps. One of them was Shanghai Dragons, and previously Shanghai were the only team to get a map that was actually Midtown played in week 2. Shanghai, I mean, they've looked okay. We're not expecting them to be world beaters. We're not expecting them to be at the top of the standings here. Long since the days of 2021 Shanghai, but they've improved a lot over the weeks.
Yeah, return of a prodigal son. Fate has returned to his erstwhile scheming vizier that is Moon, in order to once again be a proper tank for the Shanghai Dragons. They tried to make it work with Flatter. Unfortunately, it couldn't come together. I personally like to put that a little bit more on the back room if you can't get Flatter in sync with your supports. Like, it was a weird choice. But in the here and now, one player that I really want to look at is Viper, who I think has been a real breakout on the Shanghai Dragons. An excellent scout. This guy has got chops on the Tracer, and I love to watch him get a little bit silly with it and have some hard carry moments. There are some maps where Shanghai Dragons won in the spring stage where Viper was literally Sisypheanly pushing this boulder of a team up a cliff.
And Viper wasn't even really known for Tracer coming into this year. He was primarily a Genji player in his past, in his contentious career on O2 Blast. So he's another O2 Blast alumni. And basically one-trick Genji the entire year through, especially was quite good during the Junker Queen meta and the Summer Showdown era, including in contenders where they play that as well. But this year it's been all about the Tracer. Not a lot of opportunities to play the Genji. It's not even in the meta. And speaking of which, Echo has been showing her face a little round, and we haven't really seen Viper on that hero, so that will be an interesting one if it is shown at all today. You mentioned Viper's Tracer being quite dominant, while the king of dominance on Tracer in the past has been Leave in previous seasons and at various points of the season as well. So Viper's test is certainly going to be on board today.
Yeah, you talked about Echo as well. You want Echo, you've got your pick of a leader on Spark. Both Shy and Leave, dominant on that hero, even going up against Fletter in his prime, the guy who got an MVP skin of Echo because it was just a dominant hero for him. Both Shy and Leave, very confident in taking that matchup. This is, don't get me wrong, a tough hill for the Shanghai Dragons to climb, but it's been a resurgence.
Viper looks ready.
Yeah,
he's got a game face on.
Real ready. He's in. He's ready. Fate's doing his stretches here, making sure that his neck doesn't cramp up during those big look arounds you got to do on Winston. Very physically intensive hero.
He's Sunaris, a smiling Gunlinge is ready to go. Got Coach Bebe and new Coach Fletter behind Fate as well. Payson. You don't see Moon on the cam much these days. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know where Moon is at, but
Moon's in the back
room.
office.
He's in the director's room. He's in the boardroom at the moment.
He's got one of those imposing desks for like a Bond villain has.
He phones in via a button on his desk. Goes straight to the secretary.
Yeah, you'll see Flutter like tap his ear. He's got Moon in the earpiece relaying the orders. The master says we must play standard.
More orders, more orders. Play more Tracer, play more Sombra. Of which Hisu and Viper are good at, so you know this is a good meta for the Shanghai Dragons as well. I would maybe be a lot more worried for the Shanghai Dragons if we weren't in this meta. They've kind of caught a nice little wave here. They've not performed as well as other teams on the meta, but on paper, as I've said many times looking at Shanghai, Tracer Sombra, brilliant for Hisu Viper, Fade on the Winston, brilliant stuff. Gangnam Jin not super well known for the main supports, but at least Brig has been an okay look. And then you obviously have Eris, which has historically been a very good support on Ana, on BAP, on all the relevant flex support heroes. So on paper, the team has the correct firepower. But we'll talk about firepower. It seems like Hangzhou, more often than not, always has more firepower.
Yeah, and like both Shy and Leave having the power to just one man a fight and say, you know what? No, I think we actually will win this fight. Is a consistent ability for Spark to get those clutches when it matters the most. Like you said, Gangnam Jin, not the most powerful history of main support. His run with the New York Excelsior was somewhat ignominious, but his history as a flex support as well does mean that there are options if you dare to try and tread the hallowed forbidden ground. Gangnam Jin is a brutal flex support player. Actually had a pretty successful time with a Florida Mayhem when he was picked up as their flex support after the Runaway run was actually part of their 2019 Gauntlet roster. Yeah.
You know what? Like, there's not,
you all know the name.
There's not really any double flex support comps available now, unless you're playing Sigma on Circle Royale rather. But it's not really Fate's hero, so that's another issue as well. So even if you were to look at the only other double flex support comps that we had in the past was the Diva double flex. It's another hero that Fate doesn't really play. So
yeah,
not really going to see that, unfortunately. It just doesn't really line up, I think, with the entire team's strengths.
Obviously, previously, Fate had no need to learn either the Sigma or the Diva because those were well in hand by Void. That was the dominant duo that they were, Fate and Void. 2 4-letter names and one 5-letter name that I want to look at, which I'm not going to talk about because I'd rather talk about some Ana stats here, is the healing coming out of Eris. And like, well, Fate claims a lot of space. That requires a lot of healing. And the deaths being lower here are super important as well. As we've seen in our previous 3 matches today, the Anas are often the target of sometimes solo EMPs because, hey, the Ana can't nano herself to save herself.
A lot of that is also going to come down to support from the Brig to keep you up. So plenty of that with, you know, what Ballista's been able to do on Dallas, what Fixer was just able to do on Infernal in our last match. What both Langsor and Gangnam Jin are going to have to do now in this upcoming game, as well as we head into map 1 Antarctic Peninsula. And no circuit there, which is probably good for both teams because neither Gushway or Fate want to go over towards a Sigma. And it seems like no real good maps for an Echo either. You could force it on Ike, we've seen that, but not the most ideal. So yeah, it looks like we're just going to play standard the entire way through. Actually, I've won.
Probably some rush.
That's the thing, right? Antarctic Peninsula is one of our really good Brawl comp maps, including Lijiang. So both of those on our controls means we could start the series on a Brawl matchup and end it on a Brawl matchup on Lijiang. Not guaranteed, because I don't know if we're going to make it that far, but I would say Antarctica Peninsula does really favor that, and well, Shanghai have not shied away as a team that you most often think, well, they're definitely going to just play Tracer Sovereign because Viper Hisu. At the same time, they got Eris, who's just a master on the bat.
Oh yeah, crazy on the bat.
Fate's definitely played a decent amount of Ryan, so they can definitely do that.
Hey, it's going to be potentially a bell curve of Winston picks here, as we will bookend our series with 2 control maps. I'm hoping it goes to 5, but hey, maybe there'll be enough of an advantage here. You can see Hangzhou Spark's scoreline 3-2. We expected a much more dominant performance in the second half of the year from the Chinese super team, but hey, 4-2 would look even nicer, and this is how they claim it up against the Shanghai Dragons. It's just going to be TP rollouts here, then returns to the Tracer. We're starting off on old
Shy Hanzo. So things are changing up here. It's not a hero that I've not seen Shy play a lot this hero. Typically when we think of Hanzo for a team like this, it's normally should leave on the Hanzo, but they'll reserve the right to swap the Hanzo off back over towards the Sombra, which will be Shy's preferred pick. So that is going to be open. Speaking of which, the ability to kill Monk was open for a short while, but that window is now closed. Monk survives.
Yeah, Shy can also try and keep Iris off of these angles where support for Fate might be a little bit easier. He's setting up from the back, wants Monk, but for now, it's just a warning that the Sombra's just creeping around in the back line. Scary stories to try and frighten children into going to sleep. It's an all-out brawl for the point now, and Shy has been hacked, but isn't overly worried about the poke coming through from the Winston. Knows that you can outpoke that almost every day of the week. Fake out on the Nano. Forehead.
Eris's positioning is really safe there as well. He's got full vision over the battlefield, but the real ability for him to be shot at, well, he can definitely be shot at, but he can't be dived effectively. Gusha would have to really commit there. Viper straight in the backline, but Lee bounces in kind. It's 1 support each, 1 pulse each expended. Lynx is still alive though. It'll be rally for Eris's Nano. Those are the ultimates, and Lynx has to think about using this because the point is not captured. They're still 4-4. And now come double support ultimates being played.
Existing in perfect synergy, a pair of pulse bombs. Yes, Lever's going to take a touch of the Winston aggro here, as Lynx is not actually able to connect themselves. A stun moving through. Gushway too low from the anti-Iris is going to finish the job they started. No assists necessary, but Winston's going to give one over anyway. And now Shy getting 2 versus 1. You can't escape the clutches of fate. It'll come for you regardless. Destiny has no qualms with taking you. And Nano onto Lengsa trying to keep this going. It's an EMP as well, just ult after ult. Nobody wishes to be in the position of having to attack a defensively fortified eco point Antarctica. But unfortunately, Hangzhou Spark are going to have to deal with it, Blood.
Largely speaking, I think the Nano is just going to be better value than the Rally, especially up front. The Rally over time probably is going to be more useful than the Nano, but time is something the Hangzhou Spark did not have on board. Shy eventually gets a kill into Viper, but otherwise the Hanzo wasn't really bringing enough to the table. And an easy trade for Fate to be able to jump onto Shy. And now in fight number 2, Shy takes down Hisu. Hisu's EMP was one of the more important factors in that last fight as well, so Hangzhou Spark just lacked a lot of big tools.
More aggressively placed translocator didn't plug that Shy had moved over onto that Sombra, but now they know, and they know it well. Fate just about gets out of his life, but it might well be doable to bring him back on in. Iris having to figure out how do you play away from the Winston. Now it's a good dodge away, moves in now for the finish, and Anti as well moves over onto Gaucher, but a Primal Rage in his back pocket. Anger will beat through any amount of damage. And Shanghai Dragons have lost control of a point.
Going down there was really critical as well because Eris had the Nano coming on. This is the second Nano rather for Eris, with Monk trailing behind a decent amount. Shy now onto backline. That removes the Nano from play, removes the Brig from play as well. Lead to collect both of those kills, and that is important to allow Monk to try and catch up because Monk, as mentioned, is quite significantly behind. So twice now in a row, 2 fights in a row, Eris hasn't been able to get a Nano deployed.
Yeah, fighting out of LOS of Monk does mean that he's having a little bit more trouble with that one. Leave with a touch of scouting. You're right, the window certainly is going to be only open for a short amount of time, but open it indeed is. If Eurus can find the opening here to try and give Fate a little bit of cushion to play with. Lengsa drops the aggro of Monk a touch. You can see that there's actually some potential from Sombra coming through behind onto Monk, but there's more than good enough healing as Hangzhou Spark have all that they need to try and rebuff any assault with the double support ultimate. He's actually fallen of his own hand as well. Monk must have grabbed a sleep there, or someone could have found a translocator.
4 ultimates on board for Spark though. The Dragons losing their ability to come back into this game. I mean, still enough time left to play for an EMP plus a Nano, and an EMP is the one big advantage. Hisu is actually getting detected here by something, I'm not entirely sure what, but Might have just been legs are behind below him. If he does get deployed, but no kills. Monk is safe.
Gangnam Jin brutalized by the Nano Winston. They don't want to allow Viper to escape. Welcome to the Overwatch League. And yeah, this is going to be the hunt for fate. And I'm afraid Mr. Red Winston over here is going to be going the way of the Red October, most likely. Just to kite around, trying to touch that point to grab the overtime.
He just finds Shy.
What?
That's insane.
No way.
Shy,
And there's an overtime as well.
That's the unluckiest thing ever for Shy. He's translocated directly into Fate. That's going to give a kill to enable a 5v4. And now finally, you probably should see the Nano come in. Eris, it's been 3 fights where he hasn't been able to use his. Fate's got his second kill so far. Fate is just taking the entire game into his own hands. And it seems to be working for the Dragons, at least for now. I mean, they can keep going because they're going to have to keep going. They haven't capped just yet, and the longer they wait to play this Nano, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, the Nano will be necessary here to try and keep that Winston alive in the hands of the EMP. The auspices of propaganda. It might be useless, but it is very useful, at least in forcing out the Nano. Hangzhou Spark for now will allow this to wrap around. Oliver's going to continue harrying, harassing, and being a nuisance on the point. No connection from a Bardic Grenade. So now Eris has to lock in to keep that Winston healed on up. A rally popped over. Shy is going to be the main target. Stuns coming through potentially, but the kill is all that matters in the end. A double stun forces out a recall. And Hangzhou Spark once again have to evaluate their moves.
Leave almost felt the same fate as Shy there in terms of being stunned up and whip-shotted away, but just managed to get the recall in time. And what a clutch up from Fate. He was basically the only one that can do anything, and he was able to, as we mentioned, primal around, keep the point alive long enough to find a kill into Shy. And from that point onwards, Shanghai Dragons, they survived the EMP. Eris finally drops it Nano onto Fate to keep him alive. And here we are, pushing towards 99. Should be 99 to 99, and Dragons have put themselves in such a good position after it was looking so dire. EMP plus primal, such a great ultimate mount that they have, especially with that kill from Viper.
Huge sleep comes through. Monk and Lynx are already traded out. Your backline's been decimated. But Gangnam Jin's fallen too. Eris is all alone, trying to keep Gushwei from being able to do anything here. A 1 versus 2, a 3 versus 1. Leave is caught in a blender, and it's been put onto spin cycle power mode. An EMP still in the back pocket, saving it for a rainy day as Gushwei is going to come in and touch. Has his health stripped away. That's a beautiful Suzu, and it might give time for the primal. Lynx has arrived as well. Monk on the Kiriko, an absolute miracle worker. The Foxes fight back, and indeed they do. Shanghai Dragons just relying on Fate here to play his life, play the health ball. Overtime is flipped over, and now Shanghai Dragons need to stay on the point. And Nano's active onto Fate, but there is no touch.
No, I don't know where Viper was. I mean, Gushwei is... But Gushwei's in the back line, bumping people about with the fist, but I don't know what happened to the rest of the team. Isu was on a Widow, so it wasn't his job, so it was going to be either Viper or Fate, but I've no... Look, Fate even got the Nano, but he couldn't go... I don't know where he was. Didn't get the touch. So it was one of Viper or Fate had to do it, and neither of them got the touch.
Yeah, well, we saw Viper die at the end of the round. There was
Maybe he was too far away.
There, so potentially was hacked out of going for that triple blink.
Wow,
That's
that's tragic. Had 5 alive, but some of them you can understand because Gushwei's in their faces primarily, but some of them you just have no idea really.
All over the shop. No one opting in to the Ramatra here, just keeping it normal, keeping it classic. Shanghai Dragons
late.
play for the outside.
They are late. Both teams are going to go coast side, but Hisu's probably going to get the first hack. Yep, Dragons got there slightly early. I think Spark might have routed poorly. It looked like Spark were going to go towards point, which would have been a weaker start. So I'm surprised they went in that direction. And well, being late, they're just going to have to sacrifice high ground for most. Well, actually, they baited Dragons down to the low ground.
Grenade still cut off from healing his fate under the auspices of the bubble coming through from Gushwei. Still not too much pressure being felt just now by Eris. Good tracking here of both the DPS from Hangzhou Spark, allows for pretty safe positioning from the Shanghai Dragons. Hangzhou Spark do have a majority of the capture on the point if they can only force a slight disengage, and there it is. 1% already for the Hangzhou Spark. His sleeve has almost already got himself a punch from as well. So much damage coming through from the former MVP.
And a lot of that was going to go into Fate there as well. Didn't show up on the assist, but I'm sure the damage was felt a little bit earlier on that would lead to Fate going down. Isu, though, does lead Shy in this race, and while on sub-level, Shy didn't start on the Summer, he started on the Hangzhou. This time around, they're both starting on the Summer, and Isu's still going to get a decent, 8% advantage at this point. Probably not going to be a big enough window for Dragons to take advantage of unless Isu can just drop an EMP straight away now that he does have it. Don't quite know what his position is, but Spark have the first cap. Shy's only open, still trying to farm, and he'll get it as well.
It's the Brig. Fake outs from Leave. Confident to try and make this work. Lengsa absolutely destroyed. Viper is torn him asunder. The Fang sink in. The Venom finds its man. But it's Gushue who's trying to inject that Venom into the backline of the Dragons right now. It's going to be an easy escape. Shanghai Dragons have flipped the point in the midst of all of this, by the way, as well. Maybe we're hoping that Brigator would be the one to try and contest stun after stun coming through from the rally. Gangnam needs to hand out those cookies. That's a big EMP. Grabs 3, but the follow-up's a little bit sporadic. They aren't all going onto one target. All of Shanghai Dragons remain alive. It's a disengage of Gushue. Hellfire whip shot. A little bot to make sure that they're going to come on through. Gushue falls low. Viper dare not push even further into this. And a rally from Lengsa to try and turn things around. A little bit of back and forth, to and fro. The ebb and flow of the fight is difficult to watch, but Fate elsewhere. Use this Primal Rage. Plenty of health to try and keep this point contested. Moving in to pressure out these DPS. Don't allow them to pass easily onto that backline, which is also squishy and also vulnerable. It's going to be a nade going awry and a reload actually dooms Fate. It's going to be a flip for Spark.
Hangzhou couldn't quite find the EMP. Leave back into the mix. Hangzhou Spark, they were down a member for quite some time. Was a shield bash from Gangnam Jin that dislodged the ability for Hangzhou Spark to be able to cleanly get their own EMP playoff. That seems like ages ago now, because Shy is on 86% compared to where that was. That's what set this entire wave off, and at the end of the wave crashing the Shanghai Dragons is going to be a Spark fight with a Spark cap. The back of the Lengsa rally, which was a 4v5, and now Leave going for the hunt. Spots to support. He's not going to get the set. On the opposite end, he should manage to find an EMP, and that's enough to take down Lengsa, not enough to take down Monk or Shy, who also got hacked.
Backline race is strong. Shanghai have almost flipped over as well, but Gushue still keeping his arm on the corner of the point. Taking away the shields here. Gushue actually just ran that one into Shy. I believe was nanoed, so survived it himself, like you said. Unfortunately, not so lucky for the Sombra, who now has an EMP.
Well, they have time to reset here, so for the Spark, they'll be able to at least still have the EMP plus Primal available for what will probably be the last fight here. Likely for both teams, given 88%. Dragons will be onto their own 88 in a hot second. So large percentage numbers, I think, on both rounds so far. It's not a bad showing for Shanghai Dragons, who are currently 1 down in this particular map. Backline, EMP catches 2, and ERS is down. Gangnam Jin follow, doesn't even bother. Popping the rally, they're going to reset.
It is so beautiful.
Wait, Fate got nanoed there, so they half committed.
Yeah, a bit of a martyrdom coming through from Eris. But all it may well do is confirm some extra ultimate charge here from Hangzhou Spark. They won't actually get to snag a Fate. That's going to give a chance here for Shanghai Dragons to come back in.
That's really awkward for Dragons, because you either got to commit fully or don't at all. If you've got to play the nano, then the rally should also be used. But in this situation, it just ends up being a wasted nano, and the rally will finally get used in the final fight because it's the final chance to use it. But as that sort of runs out for Gangnam Jin, Lengsa is going to have his own, and Leave gets the first blood. That is critical for the Shanghai Dragons. That was almost an EMP as well. Now it's going to come down to Fate. He's the closest to a prime, but you're losing Viper also. Leave has got 2 in this particular fight. He wants more. Pulse is available. Backline is open. Leave wants to make it 4 out of 4, maybe 5 out of 5. The 5th will go the way of, I believe it was either Lynx or Shy onto Fate. But at the end of the day, it is going to be the Hangzhou Spark 2-0, and it was Shanghai Dragons, I think, carried 2 fights ago, man.
Yeah.
The rally and the nano not quite being on the same page in terms of what was and what was not going to be used.
It's the butterfly effect, man. It has these long-reaching implications. And like you said, Leave gets that first blood, and then he smells the blood in the water, goes full Shark Week, and just goes on an absolute feeding frenzy, tearing apart all of the Dragons. A single missed comm may have denied us a 3rd stage on Antarctic Peninsula, but hey, Hangzhou Spark are being made to work for it. As someone who wants to see a 5-map banger, that's making me feel real good. Hangzhou Spark grabbing their lead. We're going to head over to Hybrid next. And, well, we haven't seen too many Echo maps. It's going to be more of the same, and I know that you're excited for that. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, number 2 coming up. Hangzhou Spark 2-0 on our open map of Antarctic Peninsula, and as you mentioned, like a decent fight put up by the Shanghai Dragons. A weird ending to sub-level, I want to say, with 5 alive, and unfortunately no one could touch. But on labs, it was very, very one-sided on that final fight, with Leave, I think, getting something like 4 kills.
Yeah, Leave just absolutely chomping his way through the Shanghai Dragons. Every now and then we get a glimpse into the past. We stare into the legend lore of Leave and remember those MVP tier performances with I believe 2021 Chengdu Hunters. What a roster it was. And Leave was at the forefront. Was that his inaugural season as well? I feel like Leave might have been on the
Leave was
Rookie
2020.
of the Year. Ah, okay. Man. The old days, Avril. The old days.
If he did debut in 2021, he would have probably been not a lock, but a serious contender for Rookie of the Year. He might have been the one to win both Rookie and MVP at the same time, like probably did last year. But nope, 2020 debut, and not a good year for Chengdu in 2020, unfortunately.
It was not. It was a weak year. It was a it was a weird APAC year. That's when we started splitting our regions because of COVID. So we couldn't have all of the inter-region fighting that we did want. Speaking of fighting that we do want, Eichenwald coming up next.
The F variant of COVID, you just said there. Anyway, Eichenwald it. Probably not going to be Echo here.
Yeah,
probably not going to be
I don't think we're going to see too much of the Echo.
Maybe,
I imagine both these
probably
teams
not.
are very comfortable.
I think Spark know they're better in the dive mirror, and I think Shy wants to play a little bit more Sombra. So we're
And
going
of
to
course,
shake
we got
hands.
Moon on the phone from his desk intercom saying, play more Sombra, play more Tracer.
Sir, what is the strategy for this map? Same as last one. And
It's simple.
that will
boy.
probably
We
be
do
true
the
for the
same
rest of the
again.
series. I actually wonder if we went to Icebreaker, the third and final round of Antarctic, would we have seen Orion or not?
I feel like Gushway might have played the
that-
Ram.
Yeah, Goose Rays usually favor the Ram a little bit more when we do see Spawn go towards Brawl, but either the Ram or the Ryan. Point is, Icebreaker is like the Brawl matchup map, if there is one on Antarctic. I guess we have to wait till Lijiang to figure that one out, because Lijiang Control might be the only other time where we have to think about other comps. For now, same old, same old.
Keep it simple, keep it basic. Some good 9 to 5 blue collar Overwatch. Clock in, clock out. Is going to be Shanghai Dragons attacking first here, giving themselves a little bit of advanced positioning, of course, with Teleporter. Touch of tech. Oh, hello. Might be a nifty little spot for an Anna to hang out.
She actually ended up getting there. I don't know if much ride from that team can play, but Dragons will have to find a way to be able to access the side room here, and a lot of that's going to come down to Hisu, who does manage to get into the backline already, and can be hard for an attacking Sombra, but not for Hisu, certainly not for Viper in the first place. Shy down as a 5v4, and the Hangzhou Spark already have to pull back. Minus Gooseray, who's still a little bit committed. Now he finally jumps back.
Yeah, Gushway needs to get healed up here by Monk. He's playing a very conservative position, just making sure he's basically undivable by the Winston at least. Multiple pings from the Tracer could change that, but for now Gushway stepping up to try and take a late contest. If it could be knocked back, it's actually Leave who touches from the back. Making sure that everyone's looking towards Gushway. He was going to be the prime suspect. Gangnam Jin caught in the corner. What a follow-up onto the anti that was delivered by Monk, and now Leave. He's got himself a free backline. The man's chomping his teeth. He's ready to eat.
Probably could have killed the Ares there, but chooses to not chase and instead go for Fade. And fortunately, I mean, both of those Shanghai Dragons members get out alive, at least for now, but they did manage to get Gangnam Jin and Viper, the Pulse Bomb Prince, once again delivering on that promise. He's got to take down Goose Ray. This is before a Primal's ready, before a Nano's ready, and Hisu's going to get traded. So Hangzhou Spark alleviating a little bit of pressure, but remember, Dragons are up 2 ticks right now, and the rally's gone for lengths. It's cancelled.
Yeah, Monk sends out the Hail Mary Nano, put it onto Leave, hope that he can carry. It's a big old hitbox in front of him, so it's easily torn asunder. A Pulse Bomb out, but no. Blocked by a shield. Gangnam Jin's got his wits about him today. And with no blinks, it might be a little bit harder to try and make this one work. Shy doing administration in the back here before returning with the EMP. A big dodge. The Mem coming through, and that might well be Curtains here, but Hangzhou Spark have returned with multiple members. Now it's Hisu's turn to potentially grab this one. Would love to save it for a second point and maybe try and play the back. Realizes that translocator's been taken away, but a point has been stolen from under Hangzhou.
Just in case.
Still going to end up losing their team here, so okay, this means that Spark have a pseudo spawn camp set up. They're going to be able to cap the point, and as you mentioned, maybe saving the EMP until after a point is capped, and that's going to be true now. The Spark will take the consolation of a very early and aggressive defense with the Dragons fully reset straight away after capping, but the cap does indeed still come on through. Unfortunately, with Shy whiffing his EMP, Hisu outplaying him, translocating away. Shy hits nothing, and Spark's biggest tool to try and retain that point control is gone.
Great presence of mind. Hisu's locked in. He's in the Matrix, man. Hisu looking to try and rebuff this. EMP should be able to tear apart Gushui, and indeed it does. The monkey meats. It might well be tough to try and chew through, but when you've got a good steak knife like an EMP, you'll get through it.
Value as well, so there's a little bit of help on the side. While Shanghai Dragons finally starting to get that payload moving. Nano next to be played in. You'll need something to face Gushui's Primal, and a Nano on the fate would probably be the right call. Monk nearly down. Lengthen maybe to follow, but both supports will keep each other out. Lengthen took the aggro away from Monk, and Monk skills up Lengthen. They'll both live.
Continuously changing those targets, Shanghai Dragons. No clarity of vision on the dive, unfortunately. Gushui pops the Primal Rage, will be slapped, and remember, that doesn't last as long on this patch, so we will be woken up naturally, as there is going to be an exchange of Primal Rages. Fate likely getting on top of Monk and Lengthen, but I don't see their health bars moving. Instead, so much focus onto Gushui. Got anti. Do they know that Gushui's below them? It seems that they don't. And the surprise is all the more galling when combined with an EMP. Shy, don't miss that one.
Time, though, is a factor. When I say time, I actually don't mean the time. I mean the distance on the payload. So time for Spark to be able to get this defense underway. Even with them, I would say winning this fight and clear with Shanghai's back and how that would be true. Man, that payload got some good distance. It's moved all the way up at the back of the bridge. So one last good push from Shanghai, and they've certainly got it. Translocator spotted. Both translocators there. Well, Shy will take the position now. Hisu swaps positions. Okay.
New translocator given over.
No
Realizing, hey,
shenanigans.
it's been a while. They haven't seen the Sombra. That can only mean one thing.
The translocator just dropped.
Wake up, honey. Check it out. Leave. A pulse bomb. A tight corridor. 2 supports. It's the kind of thing he dreams of. Think about how far away those supports are from this fight, but the payload is moving. Space-time fluctuations continue to just a riot forwards, and Viper caught in a 2 versus 1. The style on the comms right there. You've fallen into my trap, all according to Kakaku.
I mean, maybe he was expecting a leap chase, but he wasn't expecting Shy to show up around the corner, and that is a nicely played situation for the Spark to be able to get their one player. Hisu not going to do any damage here. He'll wait for the EMP charge to arrive, and here it comes. Has Lengthen in front of him.
EMP charge or a back cap.
No, you can't back up here with players that close, and payload also shifting backwards. Needs the team to arrive so he can actually make this play happen.
He's playing very reserved. Oh, that's going to be Lengthen decimated. Goes into the corridor, and now someone's got to come and touch. I don't think anyone's actually stepping up to the docket. No. The dive took precedence for Hangzhou Spark.
Lengthen was there, and he died, and he was the only one close enough to touch. So that is how that cookie crumbles, sadly. Spark wanted to play aggressively. They didn't respect the fact that maybe the EMP was going to come in the back line, and maybe if Lengthen dies, that's probably it. I thought the Monk would have been a little bit closer, but it turns out he moved up there as well.
Could you say that's how the cookie giver crumbles?
Cookie giver crumbles, yeah, that's how the bakery shuts down. That's how the bakery goes under.
It's a tough economic time for bakeries. Oh, hello. Monk getting pretty audacious with this claim for space. Look at how much distance already this cart has got. This has been a consistent theme.
That's one thing that Shanghai have done well this map. They've always been able to get the payload up. Shades of Zest on Infernal, sticking onto the payload, and Steve beacon of 6, man. Call them when they arrive. Viper once again, this time onto Lengthen. Could be the final push. Dragons are roughly out of ult. This is Spark's turn to turn things around. It's not over. Fate receives Nana, but he's anti.
Gonna Family surviving very difficult. Leave sends out a wayward pulse. One doesn't actually connect, but it's okay because the shots do. Still so much distance. Even more has been gained here by the Shanghai Dragons. That demands discipline in positioning from the Hangzhou Spark, but even more so in their target selection, which appears to be just fine, my guy.
Like swapping now. Good call into final push here for the Shanghai Dragons. 1 minute remaining. Slowly transition to a broad composition. Is Gangnam going to go to Lucio? Not quite. So only Fate Ram is the differential for this particular push, and this might be the final push as well. EMP versus EMP. Shy is once again trying to set up a trap for Hisu, but you got to be careful here because Hisu's going to go for your team, and while that's happening, Shy's in the wrong place. So I think this is a situation where Shy needs to consider letting go of the translocator and just finding an EMP instead.
Leave noted. Quick hack here, but Manuel is not fast
Hisu
enough.
revealed himself.
Yeah. And that's going to be a little bit of safety there for Shy, knowing that this translocator's not been camped and moves back to a little bit of healing. The Nemesis form pop in close range with Gushui. The beating doesn't mean anything, though. That's going to be an EMP. It only grabs Leave, but that's all that you need. Shy on the other side prefers to be the Alpha Sombra of a second EMP. Make sure that Hisu's not going to be a big part of this. You know that Leave is going to be back soon. Gushui is going to be able to get so much support here. The Nano's almost ready. The melee's not going to be enough. Fate burned down by the conflux of every single target. Iris desperately wanted to try and make that a 2 for Pulse Bomb, but he just did not have the speed, the time, or the momentum. And Hangzhou Spark stopped Shanghai Dragons.
Very small window there to capitalize on. Leave dies, but you got 10 seconds to take advantage of it, and unfortunately for the Dragons, they couldn't find another pick at all, especially when they had to defend against the EMP from the opposing team, and Shy drops that one to instantly trade Hisu, so it's a 4v4 at best. Because Leave dies before OT, he doesn't even get an extended respawn. He gets a normal respawn.
Yeah.
Which, when the payload is there and the respawn's around the corner, that's really bad for the Dragons. They didn't really get to do much at all in the final fight. Fate got some good damage, but couldn't find the annihilation, which could have been big. This will be Leave on the respawn. He just respawns, and he's about to get like a 3k or something.
Check out that critical hack as well. Make sure that Fate can't actually use his block for a good portion of the damage that's coming in, and then simply has lost too much. Allows for free access to Iris. It's an easy stick for Leave, and you know what? He's earned himself a now.
All in all, an okay defense. I say okay because Dragons didn't finish the map, but they got to the end of the map, and they got both the first points in really unfortunate circumstances for the Spark. The first point capture was more, well, Spark already down 2 ticks. It was difficult for the Spark to contest anyway. And then B was, Spark were fairly overcommitted. Linksa dies, and he was the only one that could have touched him. They just didn't leave themselves enough room to go back and contest the payload.
Sometimes things start to fall through the cracks when you're looking to try and execute as cleanly on a dive as Hangzhou Spark dream off for themselves. Quickly darting through this area. Oh, you see that hack right there. That means that Viper's got himself some excellent territory to try and take 1v1s within if he so desires. That's a beautiful anti onto Fate. That's going to be a deficit healing for a little while. That needs to be caught up upon by Iris and forces Shanghai to give away some space.
Note that Shanghai, by the way, are playing back a point left side of this tower. They're not playing the side room in front. So it's a little bit of a different defense. I think most defensive teams will play the room instead, but they'll find a sleep out onto Leave, and that will be capitalization. Shanghai 5 versus 4. They lost space when Fate was forced backwards and jumping away, and now they regain space by taking down 2 kills, maybe a third.
And you can just start to see how things start to slip away through the cracks when so much healing is demanded by Winston, getting constantly pressured by players like Hisu and Viper. Speaking of Hisu, already 87% to AMP.
Yeah, easier for the defensive Sombra, I think, so
yeah.
Difficult for Shy to be able to find any positions, push through the choke where he's essentially easily discovered as well. He was given the respect over though. Shy, once again, he loves translocator hunting. He'll get that, but can they do anything about Hisu? Hisu is pretty safe, I fear, which means that Spark are not going to do too much to stop this EMP, and that is going to end up being a super safe translocator to swap Hisu as well.
Pulse Bomb goes awry, but it does mean that Iris is slow enough to be finished off by the Bardic Grenade. A stick onto the back of Gushui is not enough to take him down, and while Viper will get Leave, it's not but a consolation prize, a bronze medal.
And with Fate dead, no opportunity to retake, which means we have a completed attack for Hangzhou Spark. Good amount of time in the bank here as well. And minimal ultimate spent. Just the pulse bomb on each side. Viper actually got a stick on the Gushui, but just didn't have the follow-up damage. Couldn't get the kill. With Gooseray down, I think there would have been a strong case for Dragons to maybe stick into that one. Fate could have made the call to Primal. They'll make the call to hold and retain and play early for B instead.
An experienced captain, big veteran like Fate. Knows how to play the macroeconomic implications of these fights. With this many ultimates, it's going to be very difficult to dislodge Shanghai Dragons from the high ground. There's that early bubble coming through. EMP takes out Gangnam Jin. Also has Iris, but can't stay in for long enough to actually take out that support. Might be down to someone else to make that work. A counter EMP here just decimates Gooseray. They've torn him apart.
No chance to get the Nano in or the Primal. So two of the big tools that would have kept the tank alive is gone, and Spark have to just wait a little bit. But what I said, they still got some payload distance, so it's not all lost, not all bad for the Spark at all. And they're back now, they can start to make some plays finally, but Dragons, I'm afraid, still have just a little bit more ultimates. Viper gets another stick. The stick percentage has been good.
And the stick's actually forced out the Nano to keep Lancer alive here. And that's a huge tool that's going to mean that assaulting that high ground is going to be even more difficult. You want your Winston being able to have access to that. Hello, everybody in a tiny room. The Primal Rage wants the maybe greener passions of going after Leave. This is a big move from Fate, but hey, play the ego.
And has the double jump to block two supports. Wow, he lands at the exact right time. And Monk and Lynx have nowhere to go. They're trying to exit the top of the castle, but they just can't do so. It's going to allow Viper to be able to get the final frags, the final blows. What a play from Fate. I mean, okay, he went really aggressive on the Primal, pushed away Leave and sent him into spawn. Not through the way of death, but physically through his fist. The fact that he managed to get back into the action straight away on a double leap was huge.
Physical respawn push. The information given and taken by Shy. All's fair in love and war. The exchange is solid, and there's a slight advantage here on the EMP from Isu.
11% for Shy to close that gap, which should happen here unless Isu strikes early, and he might have to. He's done it. Trade for Monk, but with Eris down as well, there's double supports gone for the Shanghai Dragons. 3 alive for Dragons, 3 alive now for the Spark. No one has supports, no one's got any healing. All damage is permanent. And it's a stalemate, I think. No, not quite. Gooseray solo pushing. So Dragons slowly lose here.
Yeah, Gooseray solo push. An early usage of a shield, though, does mean that diving on the support is going to be pretty hard to make happen. Will be forced out rather early. They can't body block the Winston mid-leap, unfortunately. As now
Unless
Shy's
he
got
leaps
the
too.
opportunity.
If he
Yeah,
leaps
go
into
for
Gooseray, he might have done it.
Go for the aerial high five. Hello there.
Gooseray will get out. Fate sleeping, Shy's opportunity. Shy got spotted. He actually got booped as well, but Gangnam Jin's still clipped and still dead.
Gangnam Jin falling. That's going to make surviving this even harder. Fate does have themselves a Primal Rage, though. There's plenty of cart pressure. And there it is. An aerial monk is easy pickings for someone who aims like Iris does. Fate's just laying him up, and it's time for not quite Duck Hunt, but Support Hunt is just as good.
We'll get both. Nice 2 for 1 there. Well, traded by Shy. That's actually problematic because Lynx has got to come back and Fate's a little bit further off. Now, positionally, Fate's got a shorter run back time, and Lynx is... Okay, yeah, you can see him through the wall. His silhouette is far away, so unfortunately not going to be any usable space here for the Spark. Was thinking maybe the Lynx are coming back earlier, they can use that, but Fate's already returned, so we're back to a 5v5. EMP coming online from Isu.
These Billies. The question on so many people's lips here are Shanghai Dragons have a good chance of holding this and winning the match. In comes the Nano Winston. The defense should be solid. Inspire getting double healing onto both Iris and the Brigitte. So plenty of sustain available for all of these players. Another stun that can come on through as well if necessary. But Lee's trying to get themselves an easy target here. Lynx has been taken away by Viper. Monk. What a sleep! Unbelievable. The hop, skip, and the jump into the ditch by Fate. The EMP still coming up here for Shy, but forced out. And now Gooseray being camped as he tries to go for the mega health pack. Leave can't be staggered, but they have been taken off the lawn of Shanghai.
There's just no healing. Lynx is back on a Lucio, and somebody's still got to get the touch going. It's going to be slow to be able to get this health back up. Shy still doesn't have any of the playthrough, and who's going to go for it? It's going to be Leave. Triple blinks in, but he can't stay long. Staying probably longer than you would have thought. Recalls burnout. Oh my goodness, he nearly got that stick as well. It's gone. Yeah, the hack was what denied it, and the kill is going to come through as well. So Spark, once Gooseray's down, I don't think they can keep this up.
Frame perfect. Shy still has an EMP, but losing out on so many allies here. Somebody's got to touch. The EMP will be nothing but a firework. And Gooseray can't touch in time. Shanghai Dragons on the standard mirror. Bring back Eichenwald.
It just seems like all of the push that Shanghai did, especially capping B in the way that they did as well, which wasn't quite a back cap, more so just capitalizing on the situation they were presented with Hangzhou extending quite far and then getting some good distance on C. Not that we even saw C, but that would have still been a massive hurdle for Spark to overcome. Dragons, they put in the work early. They get to reap the rewards here on Eichenwald, the map number 2. Hangzhou Spark, much better looking on Toxic Peninsula when we were still playing a full mirror. Come Eichenwald, not quite the same picture. We'll have to see who takes the lead here on map number 3 when we come back after the break. Well, turns out we've got a series on our hands here, 1-1 after the break, as we're about to head back into Route 66 once again. Shanghai Dragons proving that they can go toe-to-toe in the Sombra Tracer Winston mirror with some really nice plays. Be able to fully cap through, well, not quite fully cap through, but get to the end of Eichenwald, but not even allow the Hangzhou Spark to cap B.
Yeah, some excellent defense, utilizing that high ground very well. I'm a huge fan of the defensive positioning from Bebe and Gangnam Jin, not taking too many undue risks. But for those of you who
Bebe, huh?
Yeah. Or Gangnam Jin and Eris even. I was just looking at the potential subs that we would have. Of course, none are happening here. We've got some theoretical.
To manifest the Bebe.
I'm trying to manifest it. I've seen Bebe stalking around in the back of the cams, doing his coaching. We got Fleder, of
careful,
course.
I'm gonna manifest the tank again.
You better not. Words will be had. For now, Fleder, the perching eagle over the shoulder of Viper. Yes, more stuck pulse bombs. Like, you've heard of a prince that was promised, but the prince with the pulse bomb is Viper, and honestly, he's doing pretty well against Leave, and that is a very tough matchup.
I definitely got Eichenwald, but Leave had his number on Antarctic Peninsula, so far you have a Tracer battle that has gone much like the scoreline 1-1 in terms of who had the better of who on what map. All things could change for Root. Now, we have seen plenty of Hangzhou on this map. Again, a hero that Leave has been fantastic on. I personally felt that in 2021, Leave was maybe the best Hangzhou in the world in 2021.
And Shy showed it on Antarctic.
As well as being the best Tracer and also the best Echo that same year. Now, Shy, you mentioned on map 1, showed a tiny amount of that Hangzhou. That was brief. He swapped off and went on to the Sombra extremely quickly, and that was nearly costly for the team, actually, because well, he was behind on EMP charge the entire way through sub-level. So it still ended up being a map win for the Hangzhou Spark, so they pulled through.
Yeah, you never want to be playing catch-up, but sometimes you just find yourself a nice little mechanical outplay, and it can turn the entire map on its head. Smiles all around for the Shanghai Dragons. The spirits of this team are high. The vibes are positive, moisturized in their lane, ready to frag out once more. On the side of the Hangzhou Spark, of course, we've got Lengser doing his best chair cosplay. Huge fan of that. And that would pop off at the BlizzCon cosplay contest.
Oh, just wait. Pineapple's about to sit down. Surely.
Pineapple
That's
comes in.
Is.
Let's go. Pineapple, yeah, he assigned us a support to this roster, curiously, even though almost all of his competitive tenure, I believe, has been as a Tracer player. Even
You
for
quite
the
like
Hangzhou
fruit.
Spark
What's your take on
before.
Pineapple?
You know what? I'm a pretty big fan of pineapple. I prefer pineapple juice to like eating solid pineapple. Doesn't crack my top 5. I'm more of a berries and bananas boy.
Do you like pineapples under the sea, or do you prefer them on land?
You know what? If I can have an aquatic pineapple, I think that it really enhances the flavor, especially with the sponginess. Really adds to the palate.
Do you like anything to live inside the pineapple or not?
Generally, I prefer my food housing as few organisms as possible, but sometimes you need those gut cultures, you know? How's your microbiome, Avril? How's your gut health?
It resets every time I take an antibiotic, I'll tell you that much.
You're just hitting the hard reset.
I do a bit of the Oppenheimer inside my body, and we reset.
the gut Oppenheimer.
We go back to 0. We start again.
Just hit him with the gut buster. Yeah, so if it's not absolutely perfect, April's resetting.
Every 12 hours, there's a Trinity test in my stomach. Every 12 hours.
There are a crowd around with DPS players of the Shanghai Dragons right now. Either praise being given, or maybe...
I like that. I like the Fleder overlooks Viper specifically, because I feel like Viper does overtake Fleder's previous position, and in many ways, you know, Viper I've described, and others have as well, to be kind of like the new Fleder on this team, where he certainly has had some of those Flash Lux era deadliftings, especially in the first half of the year when Shanghai Dragons was not looking as hot and Viper was doing his best to keep the team up.
Yeah, Viper I would describe as Choice Air 1-esque in the first half of the season, where Choice Air 1 with the previous iteration of the Guangzhou Charge very much was just trying to drag a team along, and hopefully we'll get a map win along the way. And yeah, I think the Viper, like being a rookie, having someone like Fleder over your shoulder, it's a lot of pressure, yes, but it's also quite confidence inspiring that a former MVP and a prestige coach like Moon believe that you have what it takes to compete at the highest level and even beyond that. So we head up to Route 66 next. You don't have to worry. The Trinity tests in our respective stomach booms will go away, and we'll watch some pulse bomb booms instead.
No Diva bombs. No Liga in this match. What are we going to get? More of the same? Instant wars by Hisu?
Not again,
So, you know what? We saw Lengsa walk away for about 5 minutes. I might do the same.
Bro, we gotta get that equal pause time for Shanghai Dragons as well. Yep. Back to the studio. Okay. Thoughts on have you got to see either of the movies yet?
Thoughts on Thinking? I actually have seen both.
Oh, I haven't seen
one of them.
yet.
One of them I thought was good, and the other one I want a refund on. I'll let you decide which one those might be. One is which then.
Damn. I've heard good things about both. Damn, Avril the critic.
Damn, dude. Well, one of them was wrong. One of those reviews was wrong.
One of them is
the other one's
wrong.
maybe correct.
Oh, I'm thinking about our last match again. I'm just casting my mind back to Fixer and Skewed as a duo. What a breakout it's been for Soul Inferno having Fixer and Skewed. It's been awesome seeing like how well these duos have like synergized and being able to survive like the 3-2-1ing, because a lot of this meta happens when the 3-2-1 is just as strong as it is. Like you get Donghack, Stalker, and Lip just 3-2-1ing on you as a dive, and there's iteration on how you try and survive that as a support. Often you simply don't, but I've enjoyed seeing like the good double nades in combination with the Inspire to really help those Annas survive, and I think that thus far Gangnam Jin and Iris have been doing a better job of that than Monk and Lengsa.
I guess looking across the stats here, a lot less deaths for Gangnam and Jin and Iris on the last map, but quite a bit more on the Tactic Peninsula, so that's probably true across the board. Look, if you're winning, you're definitely going to be dying less, and you're losing, you're going to be dying a lot more. But Spark were not that far off in terms of actual frags on the last map. 30 to Shanghai's 32. They were only 2 final blows behind. They were trailing about 5,000 damage as a team, though. That was quite interesting. Some of that was coming through from support damage, tiny bit of support damage. Leaf and Viper were mostly head-to-head. Shy and Hisu pretty close there as well. So just overall, they lacked a tiny amount of damage. But yeah, the interesting one is kills. They weren't far behind on kills at all, but a B attack was definitely a struggle.
Yeah, B can be so much of an issue, and we're likely going to be seeing potentially similar issues for our team here on Route 66B. It feels like Eichenwald, Route 66, and Numbani kind of have this similar kind of setup where often B is a momentum game. If you can do something like save an EMP for long enough to be able to actually get the momentum and control the high grounds that really force supports to come in through awkward angles, you can hold those defensively for so long, or you can just stop the defense from even coming in to contest you very easily.
Well, it turns out we got a little bit more of an issue than we anticipated, so Hisu hasn't quite solved whatever it is just yet. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break and hoping that can get resolved during that break, so we'll see you after this. Let's see if the problems are resolved as we still yet to head into map number 3 on Route 66 here, 1-1 apiece after just finishing Eichenwalde in Shanghai's favor. The PC issue there for Hisu, but hopefully resolved.
Too many EMPs, that's what we'll lose you, bro. You got to be careful.
Hacks your own PC.
Yeah. Hack and the world hacks back. We're able to move straight in now. The time will return to us. Route 66 on the docket. It's going to be Hangzhou Spark, I believe, defending first here. And yes, Hisu is back, locked in his lane, and Viper is now Shoot Flatter's overbearing singular coaching away.
This could be either a scouting arrow or a legitimate Hanzo, because I'll tell you what, again, if Hangzhou Spark hold close, which
sad.
Looks like they're holding close, it is not really good for attacking Sombras unless they can somehow get past the flying damage early and get to the back line, which is definitely challenging. They got a TP onto the train card on the left-hand side. Oh my goodness.
Lee just dives in the back line.
Yep. Set up a nade. We've seen this one before, boys. You ain't nothing special. I would think Leave is anything special as well. You push too hard.
Might have been an overcommit. If they can kill Fate here, they even it up, but Leave's got a big run back, so there's an opportunity for Dragons.
Fishway definitely needs to get out, but easy to escape into the loving arms of Anna. And yeah, that's going to be the spawn camp already broken from Leave's overcommit.
I think if they killed Fate, it would have been worth it, because Leave dies with no trade. Dragons have payload. Sparker on Big Earl, so early part of the map is actually already over. That seemed too quick for Spark's like.
Yeah, especially off the back of like a double support kill as well. That should have been fairly clean, but fighting off more than you can shoot. You're going to break your dentures, my guy. Leave. Doesn't want to overcome it again. Instead, changing targets over onto the other Tracer, just taking whatever seems appropriate at the time. Gooshway's giblets will rain down on those below as they're blown asunder by Viper. What a map already for Viper. Leave try and match this.
Leave skipped the heartbeat. He nearly had Gooshway run the possible mental on the way past.
That's a toughie.
Hisu dying earlier, by the way. Shy now has major EMP advantage, so let's see if he deploys that at any time, because Gunner's in the air is looking mighty tasty at the moment. All the way in the back. So Shy's quite there. Leaves in position.
Uh-oh.
Got another pause, but I did spot, before the pause came in, I did spot Shy running up the ramp on the left side. Leaves in position to double blink over. It's looking like tasty EMP time to me.
Yeah, like a tasty little morsel. The equivalent of popcorn chicken, though, supports in the back. It's not just pop one in your mouth. Easy. Got ourselves yet another pause coming through from Shanghai Dragons. Might be some trouble over in the compound when it comes to the internet. We've had a couple of lag issues.
No, not the Shanghai internet problems again that they also had at the start of last year. Remember? They were actually late for preseason because of that. They were, yeah.
Yeah, that was so sad. They were having to work for so long to try and build out the infrastructure to actually play the game. Tough time for Shanghai Dragons. But might just be some regular interruption of service. Don't you love ISPs?
Someone has to deliver the internet service.
Yeah. Got the carrier pigeons with bits wrapped around their ankles. What does it say, Captain? 01010. What does it mean?
So it's a ping issue. For somebody. Last time it was just Hisu. That's weird. I don't know if it's... Surely it should be for everyone because they're all playing on the same connection. Unpause. Okay. Shy EMP into Leave running forward.
Oh, Banano. It wasn't communicated. Fate actually disengages with Banano after it's given over. And now guess what? Game damage is going to be an easy picking for this EMP when it comes on through. No Nano to save him from that. And the same could be said of Fate as well. Still, Primal Rage might try and change that calculus. Fate's already popped it. Shanghai Dragons just continue going first. That's going to be the rally shield broken down instantly. Hangzhou Spark, they simply don't have the tempo. They didn't believe in the ways of the Ramatra. But what they do believe in is a little bit of tunnel fighting. And Monk is a tunnel snake. Absolutely devouring Fate within the confines of that rocky crevasse. Now Viper trying to keep Shy at bay. Oh my goodness, a well-placed whip shot removes for Sombra. And Gangnam Jin just does his best to keep this Anna sustained. It's going to be a long ride here for Iris. going through the sky. And Anna isn't meant to be airborne. That's more the territory of her daughter, but usually just can't get the finish on the kill. Finally, Monk turns up and puts a dart into the bum to make it happen. Still, I think the Hangzhou Spark have potentially done enough here to keep this.
They might go down here. They need more kills. Spark don't have enough. They don't have a tank, and even with leaving Shy back into the mix, the payload is barely contested at this rate. Fate's low, but again, they just can't quite get it. Can the pulse bomb do it? It will be enough finally. Everybody alive actually contributed to that particular kill with Fate down. Shanghai Dragons have to move backwards. That was the one pivotal kill that Spark needed because it was looking dire. In a 4v5, I'm actually a little surprised that Shanghai wasn't able to push out the backline a little bit more. But on the other part of the map, Hisu just camps the Transloc cannon, gets the kill to Shy. Enables the 5v4 once again. Shy's back though, so Dragon's got to go now.
I've lost his recall. Still might get a little bit frisky with this. Wants to pulse the rally maybe. Lengser looking tempting. No damage done. No harm, no foul. Monk keeping himself safe for now. Desperately needs to keep up towards this nano. And one more little bit of healing will do it. That'll keep Gushui alive for any dire straits. And maybe for some playmaking as well. A miss on the sleep might well be unforgivable. That's going to mean that Lynx is in trouble. Still Gushui looking for a target. A good body block for his translocator. But unfortunately, Hisu bit off more than he could chew right there.
Time. Dragons looking to get full health here, but they need more. Currently a 4 versus 3. Hisu just respawned. Could be a 5 versus 3 in a hot second here as well. Spark losing their DPS. Could sleep on a Fate, but it's not going to be enough. Monk's still in trouble. Monk dead. And the cap should come through shortly now because there's nothing to really stop the rest of the Shanghai Dragons. And the nick of time in the overtime, Shanghai will be able to get it across the line, and notably without using the EMP2.
Just about clutched out. Yeah, that EMP is going to be super important. Neither team really has the means to survive this in any guaranteed manner. Something like a nano boost is a stopgap to give over that damage reduction and instant healing. So it's going to be all about Shy and Hisu. Who can strike first? Seems like thus far, Shanghai Dragons have had much faster tempo in catching Spark flat-footed multiple times.
Shy knows where Eris is. Currently solo pushing. The Gangnam's in the first target. Eris should go down here, 1 HP. Hisu responds with the EMP directly on the Goose Ray. Goose Ray's 98%. Doesn't have the Primal Viper. Makes sure that the Primal's not going to be found. And Eris lives at the back of all of that. And they got leave at the beginning of the fight there as well. So Dragons actually win that trade. They defend the EMP. And they'll continue pushing.
I'm watching me a little bit of Viper. However, big sticks can come through from leave as well. Wants for support. Sends it down the stairway instead. Good dodge aside here from Eris. Will keep himself alive for a while longer, but still needs to be concerned about these dives. 2 players on top of him, but dodging around. A well-placed nade from both Annas actually will mean the end of one of them. But Shy's been caught out in the crossfire, and a quick mega pickup here as well will keep Gangnam healthy. Gushui doesn't wish for any survival of these supports. Commits to Primal Rage, but doesn't want to overexpose himself to damage from Betray, so just tries to keep Gangnam in instead. Monk is off the map, I believe. That's the handiwork of Fate. I believe Eris has returned in time. Still not fast enough to take Fate himself. Both teams now lacking on these tanks. Leave taken out as it goes too far into the grasps of a Predator. It's almost old style countering here from the Brig. And there should be some pressure on the cart now. That's what Viper does best.
Well, Fate coming back in. This is going to be Shanghai Dragons back to pushing, back to nano territory. Actually for both teams, but Dragons might have to consider the nano defensively against the Shy EMP, which is quickly going to be online. The EMP is still coming. It's going to be a big one too because it's powered by the nano boost. Enough to take down Gangnam, and it's Fate that ends up receiving the nano, so he lives. 4v5 currently. Dragons looking to back out. Defensive bubble. Doesn't look like any trades will happen.
Yeah, there's a world here where Lee can just execute Fate with a pulse bomb, but doesn't feel the need to use it here. Instead, just harasses Iris until he's all out of this area. There might be a touch here coming through from Hisu, of course, but this is unideal. He needs to build up towards that EMP. That could have been a clutch moment for this fight. Has to be Viper who comes in next, and indeed there's going to be a touch. Dodges away inside, and overtime once again ticking down. Hisu's oh so close, but he's already lost out on a huge amount of the follow-up potential. Iris just backs up into a pulse bomb, and while there has been trades out here, Hisu and EMP has done enough, potentially. Gangnam Jin. All of it on the cart. Oh, that's so sad, but Hisu just couldn't make it. Was
only 2 alive.
Yeah.
Respawn advantage for the Spark. Hisu and Viper the only players there. Minimal HP to use. Once Fate is down, I think that is basically the attack over. Shanghai Dragons, they had a good attempt of it. A was not even guaranteed there. I mean, A could have been a lost point as well. They got that in the OT. And for what was available on B, that is not a bad amount of distance. You'll tank that for what is only 230. So this will end before we get to C point. Hangzhou Spark have the capability now to bring us into match point 2-1 territory as we head into map 4 afterwards.
Yeah, big stat difference right now is actually Lengsa versus Gangnam Jin. Only 1 death from Lengsa versus 4 from Gangnam Jin, but importantly, the healing here is also critical. 13.2k healing per 10 coming through from Lengsa, only 9.2 from Gangnam Jin. That's a lot of survivability in these scrappy fights that we've seen plenty of, whether it be opening picks, and neither team believes in acceding the point away to somebody else. And just fighting tooth and nail, it's Lengsa staying alive in those fights, which has consistently made the difference for Hangzhou.
That's the final moments of the fight there as well. Gushui catching double. And we're talking about deaths here as well. You mentioned that Gangnam Jin had 4, and Monk and Lengsa, funny enough, combined only a 4, so the 2 plays together only account for 4. In case people are curious, Iris is also on 4, so double the deaths on the support line of the Shanghai Dragons so far. It's not been an easy day for that back line. And so a little bit of fun there on this end to open things out on Route 66A attack, and we haven't seen that before, even in our earlier game.
Early fights here. Does demand some pressure come back from Fates, but try and keep Gushui off this backline and well-placed sleep. No follow-up from the nade just yet, though. Oh, that's a nade, though. Monk got a little bit too frisky looking for it, and Iris will survive.
Yep, that's huge. Iris backs away into the cave. Monk sacrifices his life for the pick, and to be fair, I think if Monk secures it, rather enables it for another player to secure, that's worthwhile. The 1-to-1 trade favors Spark. Spark of the closest spawns, but with Iris living, unfortunately Spark get nothing out of that. Right back to the beginning. The one huge part about this, though, is that Lengsa is a lot further ahead than Gangnam Jin in terms of ult charge, so early rally here could be the call.
Swings and roundabouts, though. The same could be said of a nano boost. For Eris, much further ahead. Nice to place anti onto Gushui. It does keep him at bay for about a moment, but maintaining that position does mean that Eris probably going to have to give away a good amount of that space. Leave constrained. Trying to keep that cart moving forward for the moment. Particularly moved at all this entire attack phase from the Hangzhou Spark. Gushui so close to the primal, but it's okay. A body grenade means there's plenty of healing. A second lease on life, and Gushui is going to be able to get in third after that, courtesy of the primal rage. He can go super aggressive if he needs to. Shanghai Dragons coming up to a critical massive ult. Just going to be a bloody fast fight for it. Going to be 10 ticks on the board, and it could well be a break point here. Monk broken over Vanilla, Viper solo EMPs, and there's a stick as well. Lengsa thought he could survive, but the calculus was wrong. The map was balked. Shanghai Dragons decimate the backline.
And Viper once again, stick percentage on point here. Deletes the backline. Lengsa's rally is going to fade away as well. So Pulse of rally trades 1-to-1, but Spark really needed that one. They really hope they can get it back. An extra primal being played by Fade is maybe an overstep. Ideally, he doesn't want to die, but man, that feels expensive. It's 3 ults gone to the 1 of Spark. It's also 2 minutes and 15 gone in terms of time for Spark, so it could be looking at an OT situation unless this is the push that counts. It seems like that could be the case. Fake could go down next. He slept, dead, double DPS alive. But Jesus just going to back out, so a little bit of a lone time on the payload, but I think there is going to be one more contest.
Nano given over here might hurt. Shanghai Dragons probably could have taken a trash fight there, knowing that a recontest is workable. Gushui holding down this area, though, might make it even more difficult for Hisu to actually get a stealthy touch. He's good to go, though. Trying to catch out Leaf here. Going to be a primary target with the 3-person dive. That's easy. Disengage. Gangnam Jin going to be antied here, but that will fade off by the time that Wakey Gushui has returned. Primal Rage now splits apart the Shanghai Dragons. This defensive formation, which was so well arrayed to try and stop the cart, is being scattered to the 4 winds and the 4 elements by Gushui as he turns them into their constituent parts. Carbon scattered, and so too are Dragons. It's going to be a cap for Hangzhou.
Not bad. Time looking good. 40 seconds, roughly more than what Shanghai had, so there is an advantage there. It's not a ton of advantage. It's going to give you 1 good fight plus reset, so ideally Hangzhou can use that to the best effect. Now it's Hisu's turn to drop in this EMP, and 1 good EMP into a snowball in the defense in terms of other ult systems that Shanghai can hold for a long time, so can they actually find that as Spark somewhat grouping around. At least Monk dies.
One good EMP, one good kill. That's all they need. Monk destroyed Viper. A little bit too deep here. Will manage to get himself out, and Hangzhou Spark seem pretty happy to just take the disengage, reset, go again next.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be good enough for Isu. One kill and a quick reset for Spark. Not that much time lost. You compare it to where Shanghai Dragons were. Spark are now 10 seconds into Dragons' time on their own attacking phase. They didn't mention, though, that Dragons, after winning one fight, would start to snowball to other ultras. That has happened now. Can they get more done? Shy, big EMP, Fate, and he's still alive. Big chase by Leave, and Leave will take him down. And another play to boot as well. Dragons now down 3. Down to 2.
A Primal Rage and a Nano. Every single survivability tool was put into Fate, and he still got shredded to ribbons. And now Hangzhou Spark, think about the staying power that they've got available here as well.
Yeah,
both for Nano in the rally.
And time as the payload reaches the final area. Shanghai will be here. That's a good stick. Oh my goodness, Viper always good for that pulse bomb.
That gets it done. Viper looking for a target here, but Gushwa's got plenty in his sights, cleaving through them all with a nano boost. And you know that these DPS just have to stick to the car. It's not the ideal place. They want to be mobile. They want to be free range. They want to roam out on the golden fields of victory. But they're too far afield. And Hangzhou Spark just have too much pressure, capping out on Route 66.
Wasn't enough left there for the Shanghai Dragons. Lost all their ultimates, trying to find that next Isu EMP, but I think they were on the back foot. They were really far behind, that's for sure. Hangzhou Spark able to take that one away. It looked like their map. It looked like once they got their defense ready to go on B, just need a good attack. Things got a little bit dicey on A. Wasn't perfect. Certainly scrappy. When Hangzhou Spark have won, you know, we've said Shanghai Dragons to make them work for a match point like they is certainly going to be found here. So one more map potentially left to go through. It's going to end up being Colosseo, map number 4, and that happens after this break. There it is. The match point found. Dragons down by 1, 2-1 in favor of the Spark, and a Sarah push map to potentially decide it all. Or are we going to go to Lijiang, map number 5? That would require Shanghai to take away number 4.
It would have to happen on push, which has been a relatively successful map type for both of our teams. I was going to tab over to my stats, but the tab has just broken, so I can't tell you exactly. 1 second. I've almost got it. The numbers. What are they? The numbers are indeed that push has been 2-2 for Shanghai, but 1-1 for Hangzhou Spark, because Shanghai have actually gone to this on every single one of their games. So they either won 3-1 or they've lost 3-1. So they live and die by the push.
We've also seen Hangzhou go to at least a single map 5, a couple map 4s themselves as well. So we'll see how that one ends up panning out. It was a map 5 versus Dynasty, which they actually lost, by the way. So unlucky there. And the map 4 was versus Panther that they beat. What's funny about all of this is that Shanghai beat Dynasty.
Yeah.
So that circle, that's the circle, it spins around to go in a loop.
We just keep spinning. Someone's going to break the wheel, Avril. Someone needs to break the wheel. Who's going to come and save us? Wheeling around Colosseum.
Classic Pixie rant about the wheel being broken. Sorry, no one knows. It's too long ago now. That's
they don't know.
History.
They don't know about the Pixie rant.
But I do know about the Colosseo comp. I'd like to know what the Colosseo comp is going to be.
Hit me with the legend lore.
It's probably going to be Tracer, Winston. I'm going to say Sombra. Like, I don't know why I think it's going to be that, but I think it might be Sombra.
On both teams as well. Someone arrest this man for espionage right now. He's in the camps of these teams, getting the secrets and selling them. I think they're going to play Sombra, Tracer, Winston die.
I remember the good old days when Jimmy would play the Hangzhou here. And actually, Hangzhou is kind of sick on this map.
Yeah.
Super long range. Especially on the concourse in the mid area of the map in the neutral. Very strong.
Being able to move over those.
Speaking of espionage, by the way, let's see how the Sombras move on the opposite end of the glass. Actually, both Gushui and Fate going to start out in the open. Shy's trying to get a hack with someone, but she can't quite complete it.
That kind of espionage segue is why Avril gets paid the big bucks. Oh, a little bit of a cheeky translocator there. Going over to the opposing mini-pack. It seems like both Sombras doing a little bit of a mirror here. So there is a jostle for position. This is at least less of a battle of Ypres kind of beginning that we've seen on Colosseo from double dive teams instead of playing around the outside for a little bit more dynamicism.
See when our first kill comes through. It's about to be a full minute. You know what? Sometimes it does take longer than... Okay, we didn't quite reach a minute. Linksa will take the first bullet in the Viper, and now Spark should be able to make that push through. Dragons, no ability to trade here. They haven't landed enough utility. Not really seeing the antis coming on through. Saw an anti on the fade. I think an anti did get hit onto Shy, but no threat of a kill. Nano's about to be on board for Monk as well, so Spark leading in some good regard here. Hisu is above Shy, though.
Yeah, check that EMP charge. Going to be a race here between Isu and Monk, and Isu looks like he's winning right now. Fate already anti. That's going to keep him at bay for a moment. Can't really execute on the EMP. Here it comes straight away. Momentum's the name of the game. But the momentum gets halted by the sleep from Monk and have an nano boost as well. It's ill communicated though, as Gushui was disengaging midway through his jump. Now he can only control the high ground, and the overall efficacy of this nano is somewhat muted. Shy on the other side though, ready to strike back with his own EMP.
That's the thing, right? Because Spark still have more to play through. They have their ult that's coming now. Double DPSs. Gushui, no time to use the primal, dude. He was hacked out for maybe slightly too long. And Fate's going to try and seal the deal. Another good sleep coming through from Monk to slow down Fate. It would be the Hangzhou Spark losing this fight, confirmed with Viper killing lead.
Fate's not feeding over more HP to Shy. But we do know that Shy likely has the EMP now. We know that the ult tracking is very strong here. Hangzhou Spark with 4.
I mean, look at the ult difference, and that's the problem, right? Because okay, Gushui dies, he couldn't quite use the primal, he was hacked, but Fate extra primal means the Dragon's going to be down extra ultimates. Shy had the translocate. There's also a little bit of a slowdown. Now he's hunting around the outside. He's going to bump the Viper in a hot second. Back on call.
It's going to be a Fate all the cushioning that he needs to try and survive this. Couldn't help Viper though. That ended up being the primary target, forcing the disengagement here. Remember, the Shanghai Dragons didn't actually get that much push off their initial victory from the huge investment that was made. And now Leave might look for even more staggered. You can tell the possum in his hands get a little bit itchy. Sits it down onto Viper, but quickly takes it away with the blink and recalls back in space-time.
Well, it's the second time we've seen that today as well in 2 games, nonetheless. Twofer as Hangzhou Spark will find the two from the back line. Double support ultimates. Primal online. Nano up first. Gushway powered up but asleep. That's going to be a little bit problematic. Force the Primal. Keep the game alive. Meanwhile, Payload is pushing. Going to be looking towards the cap really soon. The Dragons currently focused on Gushway. They needed to get the kill. They've got the kill at the cost of Eris. Still need to go for a touch here.
Trims of EMPs. Many people hit. The follow-up is solid. Lengths is gone. And Gushway was gone too. But critically, during these fights, even when Hangzhou Spark aren't directly winning, they're still getting this cart push. Gushway's making so much space, but it's free push on the barricade.
And if Gushway lived, I think they have a real case to be able to go for the cap there. But with Gushway down, no tank, a further like big ticket ultimates to maybe buy them across, like an EMP would have been insane there. Speaking of which, he did pop his. So Dragons, they win a fight, but they haven't won the neutral. They haven't really got distance to play through either. That's the one big lacking part about all this for the Dragons now. Good news for the Dragons is that Spark didn't cap either, so the game is still fairly even. It gets quite a bit more skewed when the team actually does cap. Sarah being one of the harder maps to cap in the push-pull.
Yeah, that bridge. They certainly do be contesty. Leave edging up towards that pulse or to use to chunk down Fate. They will have targeted. Primal Rage coming on through. It's a wide pulse though from Viper, not able to take out Lengths, and that's even fewer ultimates now available for the Shanghai Dragons, who are feeling the onus to move forward. Hangzhou Spark. Oh, that's a huge elimination on the translocator though. Great work in the back, and that allows for an instant pick on the Shy. Now that EMP's off the table, instead they're going to be using the Pulse Bomb to try and rebuff this. Once again, Fate at danger of being shredded with a combination of a Pulse and a Nano.
He's going to waste a lot of time on the Primal. He had to go backwards. His anti-Dallas off. Fate can take any chances. So despite Dragon slowly trying to win this one, yep, walking straight into an EMP. Shy's been holding on to that one for a while. He died in the last fight. Respawns and instantly is going to be able to pop that. Gangnam Jin, despite the rally, he'll keep the backline alive, but Fate not so lucky. You can't do too much without your tank. It'll be Hisu's turn to EMP next. But he'll have to do it in home territory because the Dragons are going to have to defend this payload against the cap again.
Shanghai keep having to use these big money ultimates just to stop the progress of Hangzhou Spark, and the pressure don't stop coming and it don't stop coming. Gushway, Primal Rage ready to go, but doesn't want to push his luck here. At the moment, Hangzhou Spark, they don't feel the need to even go forward. They've got so much of an objective lead, but it's just Leave playing with his pet push bot to try and make something happen.
They got to get the EMP out. If Hangzhou Spark are going to just lose this fight and take it dry and allow Shanghai Dragons to get something out of this, you want to see Hisu drop this in so that Hangzhou Spark can at least force Dragons to pay for it, and pay for it they do.
No time to Primal. No time to survive. Still, that's a beautiful stick right there. Fate is just eviscerated. There's naught but a twisted monkey salad remaining from where a Winston once stood. Hisu clutching on the other side. Leave in a 2 versus 1. Just have to clear himself as quickly as possible. A web shot here could take him out, but Gangnam Jin doesn't want any of that smoke.
And still, after all of that, I mean,
still in the neutral.
They got 2 picks. I think they got both Monk and Lynx. So it was a 2-for-2 trade. And at the end of all of that, you're right. Still a neutral. No one really came out ahead. Back where we started, and that's bad for Dragons, who still really haven't got much distance at all. And here comes Shy. The backline, EMP ready, spots Gangnam Jin, would like to get Eris as well.
Some blink coming in. Yeah. Nano keeps Gangnam Jin alive. That's earned him the rally as well. Quick wake up onto Gushway means that this is going to be troublesome in the backline. Still a disengagement. Doesn't want to fade over even more ult charge as Hisu is starting to close that gap when it comes to the EMP as well. But all of this time, 7 minutes in, Shanghai Dragons still having trouble getting any push on the objective. A disengagement from Fate, who feels like the walls are starting to close in around him. And the flankers in the room with us right now.
Hisu's got the EMP. So here we go. You want to talk about flankers in the room. Where's Hisu? That's what I want to see. Double support ultimates online for Spark. They can do some serious work in defending and instantly the rally. Wow, what a reaction. Lengsa, he spotted Hisu on top of his head. Going for the Goomba stop from the Sombra. He still gets a kill on his exit. He translocated away and got shot.
Getting shy with both of those support ults being used. That's a good result for Shanghai Dragons. Maybe finally some momentum on their side. Guxue might actually be stopped from leaving here. Let's get up onto the high ground, which is going to make sure that any damage coming through is going to be mitigated. Monk stuck. Viper finally uncoils from his nest and strikes true.
That's going to mean that Dragons get their first round of actual good distance. They'll threaten the cap. They won't be able to get it just yet. And they do something about this Primal, because they use the Fate Primal to make it work. And Viper's going to do some short work on a Shy. A 5 versus 4 is going to make things very difficult for Spark now, through themselves at risk of losing the cap. They'll lose the lead for sure with minimal time left. I mean, the lead swap alone, but despite the cap, might be enough.
Here it comes. 2 meters remaining. Someone's got to try and make this move, and indeed it's Guxue who does it. Now it's Lee playing around the other side. This could be it for Hangzhou Spark. If they can make it happen here, it might break the knees. Primal Rage first. Shy the primary target. Just get him loose, get him away. There's the flip coming through from the Shanghai Dragons, and they know that that's all they need. This has been enough of a troll that they can simply just leave now with their ultimates in tow.
Yeah, they absolutely can. And he's just on the backline. He still has the opportunity to go for a huge EMP here. Don't know where Shy is, but who cares? Here we go. Big 4-man head. It's huge. It's enough. Trade coming on through. Shy's trying to get a couple of hits of his own, but it's Viper for 2. Leave onto 1. Both the Traces still alive. And Nano onto Fate. And Dragons largely ahead here. Can they also get the cap?
Oh, Leave needs to try and save us here with a well-placed pulse. Keep this point contested, but no, spotted out early. Some damage taken. Even more is going to be gained here. Of course, it could be contested for free from the top of the bridge. We all know how this works, but Guxue could, of course, be pressured out. A stick on the shield. Well managed by Lane, so no panic here. But this continuous pressure on the bot means that Hangzhou Spark are having their positions continually eroded and then having to reinforce them with their own resources.
It's going to be tough. Look how much they have to push through Spark. They have to get through the neutral. Have to get back into the Dragon spawn territory. And then get the flip, which at this stage is basically a cap. I mean, it's roughly the same distance. They got essentially one push until the OT, and then they have to do the rest in overtime, which means no mistakes.
Leave bomb brings Fate low. So many members of Shanghai Dragons demanding healing. It's down to Gamnon and Iris to keep playing this game. A good sleep onto Guxue. And now with no sleep available, you know that it's smoky business time. They're so close to getting some additional distance as well. This could be everything the Hangzhou Spark need to close out this map. What a play from Monk to bring this towards the end. You can see just how little leeway there is. A touch yes comes through. Gangnam Jin with the rally. There's no time. There's no distance. There's no heroes remaining. Hangzhou Spark. They spit on the dreams of the Dragons and claim themselves for series.
With a minute 30 left to go, roughly, Dragons got the flip, and it was looking like it was in Dragons' favor. We were staring at the Lijiang Tower, 5th and final map, and who knows how that one goes. But I tell you what, when it comes to Shanghai Dragons, you said this earlier, but there are no Mat 5s. It either ends in a 3-1 victory for them or a 1-3 loss. And today, it ends up being the 1-3 loss. They took away Icon Boulder, but they could not get any other maps. But I tell you what, Coliseo was close. It was damn close. When push comes to shove, Hangzhou Spark get a bit of momentum in the overtime. The spawn time is starting to get really long for the Shanghai Dragons. Despite having a closer respawn, they lose too many players, too late, with a lot of staggered deaths. And Hangzhou Spark lose nobody. And they're just in position in the final hour to get it across the line.
Incredible plays from Monk as well. Not only hitting that anti to force so much space away from Fate. Forcing those disengages is so important. When you're playing for that distance, you get the free bot push off the back of that. And then saving Guxue as well with the nano boost. Not only the nano boost, but also the nano boost after Guxue got slept. Meaning that there was no real way to shut down the cleave that Guxue could get after that. And he just tore through the back line, resulting in those longer spawns you were talking about.
It's tough. The Viper had a good run of it too. I mean, the guy was starting to really carry the squad. Shanghai Dragons were coming into a huge amount of momentum. You were feeling the Shanghai when I was feeling the Shanghai noise, mate, dude.
Yeah?
Hangzhou Spark might have just dropped the ball here. They might have sacrificed their ability to take away the match, but wasn't going to happen. And one of the players that made sure it wasn't going to happen was Leave.
Oh, yeah. Leave, once again, showing us why he is one of the storied MVPs of Overwatch's lore on the Tracer. That's all he really had to play today. Didn't have to show off that he's got a Pharah, he's got an Echo, he's got a Widow, he's got a Junkrat. No, none of those are necessary. One hero and one hero only. The Time Demon to rule them all. The Beelzebub of pulse bombs. This was a big match for Leave.
So we're vying for the pulse bomb prince and leave the Beelzebub of pulse bombs.
I didn't have a good B word in time.
Pulse bombs.
Pulse, yes.
What you were looking for there, but
Beelzebub.
Things started early for Leave, didn't it? Because even on Antarctic Peninsula, where I mean that was not a guaranteed win for Hangzhou Squad at all, they had to really fight tooth and nail for it. Good look from Leave. This map ended up being a lot more difficult. We did know that Vibe had much better stats on Evolve, but generally speaking, Shanghai had better stats across the board as they were winning. But this particular defense, and we called this in the replay as well. Super long range pulse bomb into the sleep dart, doesn't matter. Still wakes up and frags out.
Yeah, we use this strong. And the comms for Shanghai as well, or rather the comms for Hangzhou onto Shanghai, things like hitting that nade, being able to react super quickly to things like set plays and Leave just being all there for it, the solid game sense that he brings, and how much trust he has in those nades as well, does mean that he can pull out some miracles sometimes and get those early power plays.
It's not been a bad season for Leave at all. Powered up on the squad, backed by Shy. Two best Chinese DPS players of all time finally united. I was going to say reunited. Technically, I think they play the World Cup team together, and that's still going to be true for this year. Hangzhou Spark is steadily climbing the rankings once again. This is now going to be their fourth win, bringing their record to 4-2. Still barely trailing behind the Solar Inferno in terms of how the region is shaping out. Hangzhou Spark is still a solid third in the top three, and top three is important as a cutoff leg day because you need to be top three to be able to make it into the playoffs. So yeah, for Dallas, Soul Infernal, and Hangzhou Spark, those seems to be the teams that you need to look out for at the moment.
Yeah, for those of you who are wondering about where the powers are in APAC, what Avril just said is exactly where they do lie. We, of course, have a couple of outliers here and there, like Shanghai Dragons, of course, taking, like, matches of people like the Dynasty. It's a resurgent second half of the season, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to go up against teams like this. Hangzhou Spark are this is a perfect meta for them. Like, if they could have, like, Shy play and Ashe as well, it would be even more min-maxed, but Gushui being able to just lock in Winston every single match is exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, and, you know, if Hangzhou can keep at least this type of momentum up with, especially Guangzhou Charge, I think, falling by the wayside for this season now. Guangzhou Charge is sitting at 1-4. It's going to be tough for them to climb back in. Obviously, we still have a knockout phase to go through, so as much as we talk about the current standings here, these standings lead you into a knockout stage and it will give you better seeding, but really it's going to come down to those knockouts. So still room for teams late in the season to make a final run for it.
Yeah,
for now, I think our top three is pretty solid.
Yeah, that'll be on like almost a new meta as well. We're gonna have, I think.
Actually, that's true. Yeah.
Like we're gonna have a 2-week break, I believe, after next week, to maybe shake things up. Maybe it won't be Sombra Tracer Winston. Who knows? Right now it's looking incredibly strong. I don't know what a patch might entail. Maybe Winston finally gets the nerf that Jack was describing earlier, losing 50 HP from a 1050 in Primal Rage. That'd show him.
Yeah, those the knockouts could really shake things up. So it is kind of crazy. Part of me wishes that the #1 seed just like freely gets to go through. They just go straight to playoffs. I mean, come on, if you get the final seed, you get the top seed, maybe you should deserve it. But we're gonna go into an interview here. We're gonna talk to somebody from the Spark to get a bit of a gather on what their thoughts on the season, the match so far is going to be, and maybe a look ahead as well. So let's find out who we're talking to. I think it's going to be Lengsa.
Oh, nice. Hello, Lengsa managed to survive a long time. We've got Evelyn in translating as well. Hello, Lengsa. How's it going?
Hi.
Hi.
I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
you 想说的话可以讲英语。Seems like he kind of
我
wants
觉得
to talk in English.
我觉得今天打的还行吧，就中间出现了一些个人失误，然后导致打的那么焦灼吧。
To
First,
ask about
I want to
Icon
say-
Volder. So that was the sorry. The translation. my
If
bad.
everyone to go, we would really appreciate that.
Sorry about that. Anyway, I was.
Lengsa said
Understands.
it was. I think, and they think today they performed kind of well, and there were some personal mistakes happened, so it looks a little bit closer than expected.
Cool. So I was getting ahead of myself there. Yeah, I'm like, in my mind it's already translated. Anyway, first question officially is going to be, you know, what did you think went wrong on Eichenwalde? There was the one map that you lost, so you won all the other maps, but Ike was the one that sort of fell away. So talk me through that map.
好的。那么第一个问题是因为爱信瓦尔德输掉了嘛，这是唯一一张输掉的地图，想知道在那个上面就是发生了一些什么事情，可能会导致没有打得太好呢？
爱信瓦尔德的话，有一波团我记得，就是爱信瓦尔德，我记得他们是有音 P， 然后那波团我是在车边就是等着他来杀我的，然后车到点了，我们也就输掉了。
I think the main reason we lost Eichenwalde is because one team fight, which I remember they had EMP, and I was just around the payload and waiting them to get me killed. And of course I died, so we lost that team fight, so we just lost that match.
It's a real shame. You guys are on a 3-win streak now after losing 2 games early. Have you guys figured out what problems may have been plaguing Hangzhou Spark earlier in this stage and fixed them?
那么在这个赛段，杭州闪电队一开始是2连败，但是现在就是成功的达到了一个3连胜的势头，想知道中间有没有做什么样的调整，就是又让状态好了起来。
中间我们输的时候可能是没睡好，然后状态不是特别好吧。然后后期我们调整过来之后，然后也就打得顺风顺水了。
I think the 2 losing games at the beginning of the stage is might because we didn't sleep well and rest well at the beginning, so we didn't like give our best in those 2 matches, and later we just like rest better, and gradually it's really natural that we play better and win those games.
Wanna go again, Harry?
Yeah, big sleep diff. Wanted to extend my congratulations to you for, I believe, what is your birthday tomorrow. Are you guys gonna do anything as a team to celebrate?
那么下一个问题是，听说明天就是冷夏选手的生日了，你们明天会不会有一些活动来庆祝你的生日，然后同时也庆祝最近这一段时间比赛打得挺好的？
明天的话可能就是自己有一个好的休息吧，然后可能会直播一下，然后呢，反正就享受自己的假期，一个小小的假期。
I think tomorrow might be a little vacation for me, so I can stream a little bit, maybe have some good time with my fans and have some good time to take some good rest. Yeah, it's mainly really a chill time for me.
So the final question will be your next match, which will happen next week, will be versus the Dallas Fuel, and Dallas currently look like the best team in the East region. Do you think that they are the best team, and what do you think about facing them?
那么最后一个问题是，下一场比赛是对阵到达拉斯染料队嘛？他们现在看起来好像是东部赛区最强的队伍，一直在连胜。那么你对这场比赛和对染料队整体的看法是什么样子的呢？
我觉得只要我们状态好的话，应该是能很轻松的拿下的。但是如果我们中间发生一些个人失误的话，就可能比分还有比赛时长会拉长一些。
I think we can easily take the win if we perform well and do our best. But if there are some personal mistakes, it might look closer than it should be.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for the interview, Lengsa. 谢谢，祝你明天生日快乐。
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Show off. What?
Gotta use it where I can. Here are today's results: 3-0, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Not a bad day. No Mac 5s, but a limited number of 3-0s as well.
Yeah, 3 Overwatch is dead after match number 1. Dream is going up to 3-3, which keeps them as our top contenders team, I believe, here in our summer stage qualifiers. Guangzhou Charge, their woes continue, but Dallas Fuel 6-0. Look at that resurgent after such an anemic beginning to their season as reigning champions. Everyone thought Dallas Fuel, they might well be cooked, but in fact, they were just cooking on a slow roast.
It's the second half of the season buff, I'm telling you, man. Last year as well, Dallas came back big after mid-season madness. They had a disappointing finish in MSN last year. But guess what? Second half of the season last year, they won the whole damn league, and they're looking for another run back now. We want to see if we can get a back-to-back. Well, Dallas are putting in the work, surely. 6-0 so far. They're the team to beat currently. Spark, I reckon they can take them on. If the stars are aligned, and they feel good on the day, and their form is good, they can beat Dallas Field. Langston believes it. He'll have the birthday buff after tomorrow as well, going to next week. Speaking of going to next week, here are currently standings. So this is how we end week number 3 as we head into number 4.
Man, that 3-0 or rather 3-1 has really helped Dallas to clear the field when it comes to that map differential. +6 now compared to Soul Inferno. Of course, 3-0ing Soul Inferno yesterday was the big one that made that happen. Hangzhou Spark, 4-2 though. They are not someone that Dallas Fuel can wipe out easily. Potentially, there is definitely going to be so much contention next week over that match. Hopefully, we'll get to cast it. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is, but that's definitely one that I want to see. However, it's not going to be happening on day 1. Here's what's happening on day 1.
But your Blast Panthera,
tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow first before we head into next week. For some reason, does the weekend end on the Saturday? I don't know. For some people, maybe.
I said we went so long today, but I assumed that we're already in Sunday.
Yeah, did we not already go? It is Sunday for me. I don't know about you, but it's Sunday for me now. O2 Blast Panthera, Dynasty Poker Face, Charge Dragons. You know what it was? It was because I was talking about the Dallas Hangzhou game with Linkser, and my mind was already into week 4.
Yeah, man.
No, we do have games tomorrow. We still got some games tomorrow. And Shanghai still got another chance. And that's going to be an interesting game because Guangzhou and Shanghai, they need some wins, man. They're both lacking.
They do need some wins, and they both picked up maps today. Both of these teams refusing to simply roll over and die. And picking up a map off of Dallas Fuel, pretty impressive. Picking up a map off Hangzhou Spark, also impressive. But right now, I give a little bit of an edge to Shanghai Dragons. Viper looking super strong when it comes to that Tracer. But it's all going to come down to coordination, Avril.
We'll have to see how they do tomorrow. A lot of questions still to be answered. Week 3, in fact, is not ended. Still got one more day, so make sure you tune in again tomorrow for some more Overwatch League Summer Stage Qualifiers East. Until then, though, we'll say goodbye.